There are moments in life when we act, speak, or even dream in ways that feel oddly familiar, as though we're stepping into a role written long before we were born. A heroic decision in a moment of crisis. A shadowy pull toward sabotage. A sudden awakening to a deeper truth. These are not random. They are patterns, ancient ones. And Carl Jung called them archetypes. Archetypes in Jung's theory are not just characters in myths and fairy tales. They are psychic blueprints embedded in the collective unconscious, shaping the way we perceive, feel, and respond to the world. They are not inherited ideas, but rather tendencies, structures of the mind that influence our behavior from beneath the surface. We don't just observe archetypes in stories, we live them. Take the hero, for instance, a central figure in mythology, from Hercules to Harry Potter. But the hero is also within you when you face adversity, push beyond limitations, and risk failure in pursuit of growth. The hero archetype doesn't require swords or dragons. It simply needs a challenge and the will to overcome it. In Jungian thought, archetypes are the silent protagonists behind our psychological dramas. Each archetype functions like a psychic lens, distorting and coloring our experiences. The mother represents nurturing and protection, but can also manifest possessiveness or smothering. The trickster can be a force of chaos and creativity, inspiring transformation, or wreaking havoc. The shadow, perhaps the most profound of all, holds our repressed fears, desires, and shame. It is the part of us we refuse to see. Yet what we ignore in the shadow often finds a way to act through us, projected onto others or lived out in self-sabotage. The question then arises, if these archetypes are invisible yet powerful, how do we even notice them? Jung believed dreams were one gateway. In dreams, the archetypes often appear as symbolic figures, wise old men, mysterious women, wild animals, or threatening strangers. But they also arise in art, religion, culture, and myth. Every culture, no matter how isolated, has produced stories that echo with these same figures. That universality is what led Jung to postulate a collective unconscious layer of the psyche shared by all humanity. But far from being mere theory, Jung's archetypes are psychological forces that impact daily life. In relationships, for example, we may project the anima or animus, the inner feminine or masculine image, onto a partner, idealizing them beyond reality. In groups, we may unconsciously assign roles: the leader, the outcast, the peacemaker, the martyr. These are not decisions, they are patterns unfolding. Power dynamics are often governed by these archetypes. The king or queen archetype governs authority, but it can decay into the tyrant if the individual becomes consumed by ego or fear. The wise old man, symbolic of knowledge and guidance, can either mentor or manipulate. Jung saw these roles not just in individuals, but in collective phenomena, movements, revolutions, cults, and wars. It's here that we begin to see the danger of ignoring the archetypes. What remains unconscious can become destructive. Consider the shadow in politics, the villainization of others, the denial of one's own darkness, the moral hysteria of us versus them. Jung saw the rise of Nazism not merely as a political event, but as a collective psychic possession, an unleashing of the archetypal shadow on a national scale. Yet, there is another path: individuation. This is the process Jung believed every person is called to undertake, the journey of integrating the unconscious into consciousness, of uniting opposites within the self. It's not about becoming perfect, it's about becoming whole. And to become whole, we must meet our inner characters face to face. To recognize the archetypes at play in our own psyche is to take the first step toward freedom. When we can say, this is my inner critic speaking, or That dream was my warrior urging me forward. We are no longer slaves to the unseen. We become authors of our own story. The modern world, with all its speed and noise, tends to flatten our connection to myth. But beneath our rational surface, the archetypes are alive as ever. They appear in film, literature, advertising, and even the roles we take on at work and at home. The mentor in your favorite movie. The rebel in the latest protest. The lover in every tragic ballad. These are not just tropes. They are mirrors. Jung's insight was not to define these archetypes rigidly, but to show that they are dynamic. The hero becomes the sage. The innocent becomes the orphan. The cycle continues. We do not become one archetype, we move through them. Life, then, is not just a linear path, but a spiral of psychological growth, shadow confrontations, symbolic deaths, and rebirths. What's more, Jung did not believe in divorcing psychology from the soul. His work bridges science and spirituality, intellect and intuition. Archetypes, for him, were also spiritual symbols, guides toward meaning in a world of chaos. In this way, his ideas resonate not only with therapists, but with artists, mystics, and seekers of truth. So, are our lives shaped by Jung's archetypes? The answer may be yes, but with a crucial caveat. Only if we let them remain unconscious. The real challenge and the real power comes when we become aware. Then we can choose which archetype to embody. Then we can balance the warrior with the peacemaker, the sage with the fool, the king with the servant. We live in a time where external identity is emphasized, titles, appearances, affiliations. Jung's work calls us inward, into the realm of symbols, stories, and shadows. And in that realm, we do not find formulas, we find ourselves.